Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the stream. I'm Junchan, and yeah, we today I was really hoping that I would have this driver, NVidia driver issues settled, so we could do some Haskell, but I couldn't get it to work before the beginning of the stream. So we're gonna do a little bit more of NixOS configuration, but just the way it is. So yeah, just as a little intro, if you're new to the stream, you're just watching this on YouTube. We're doing a few different things on 3 streams a week, and actually streamed 4 times last week. And generally, the theme is that I work and learn in the open, and so that's really what my stream is about. Hopefully, someone can get something out of it, out of the troubleshooting I do, the tooling I use, the projects I have. Hopefully, in there somewhere there's something useful. And yeah, I like to follow tangents. So sometimes I will pull on a thread to see what's there. That's how I learn. So expect that. And usually, though, I will come back to what I was doing before, and that's one of the benefits of this format, which is that I get to have a set of things that I come back to. And this has evolved a bit since I began streaming, but we've been, and so it could change, and that's something I also highlighted here. Everything might change. Yeah, life, you never know what you're gonna get, right? It's a box of chocolates. Okay, so we are Tuesday, and on Tuesdays, what we want to do is program the GPU. And since I love Haskell, the idea is to use Haskell to program the GPU. And there's a few libraries that do that. I narrowed my interest for now on the Accelerate library, which is really a numerical computing library, a high performance computing library. So that sounded like the right way to start. And so we're continuing this, but probably at some point we'll start to shift the emphasis to not only doing computation on the GPU, but also doing graphics on the GPU. And there's something I should have mentioned is that there's in this second version, for a while, for like the first maybe a month and a half of streaming, I had slightly different priorities in there. And in the second iteration, things are converging a bit more towards let's say a vision where each piece is contributing to a larger whole. And so the Tuesday piece, in my view, contributes to number crunching, computation heavy things using the GPU. That could be for graphics. I'm also looking forward to test some machine learning things on that particular slot. On Thursday, we focus more on front-end related things and specifically browser related things. And so we do PureScript, and with for a few months we were looking at the Chronophore library. I'm now building up on top of that a prototype, and some of the idea is to maybe build some kind of streaming overlay based on that, or maybe even a streamer overlay, something that the streamer can use to get feedback. So on Saturdays, we're looking at the media engine side of things and how to use Haskell to pilot the GStreamer library, which is a library that allows to do what FFmpeg does, for instance, but in a more maybe composable manner, building up a multimedia pipeline by assembling encoder, decoder, transformers, and whatnot, with a good GPU capability of focus on, at least in part of the community, on doing things in a very efficient manner. It's very cross-platform, and so something that would be very hard to build from the ground up in Haskell. And so using that GStreamer library from Haskell is the focus right now. And overall, the way that this ties in together is probably something like a a tool that I could use maybe instead of OBS, and that I maybe would have the high bar that I set, the way maybe we can start assembling these things, is to try and solve this issue of, okay, I might do, several 4-hour, 5-hour streams even, but this is not very easy to consume. If you first of all, it's hard to discover what I do inside those streams, and then it's also quite a bit of work to go back and watch those 5 hours to then edit shorter and more focused maybe videos, maybe with an educational focus, maybe just with other foci. But I'm wondering whether it's possible to actually do this while the stream is ongoing, in order to cut the overhead, to at least remove the rewatching 5 hours of the stream. So I started talking about some UX ideas about how this might work. Last Saturday also we started working on maybe what data structures would start looking like, and then on Sunday I also streamed on maybe what an event-driven approach to building up this data structure would look like. So check out previous streams, check out the YouTube, my YouTube channel. Everything should be linked on my Twitch account or my YouTube channel. Okay. So let's go back to what we're doing today. We're doing GPU things, and where we stopped last time is with the following. We were actually able to build. We were actually also able to run. Oh, that's an interesting little thing. I was actually able, for the first time in a while. I can't seem to be able to reset this. So let me restart. What I did was Nix develop, and that built the project, which we set up with Haskell.nix, using Flakes. So pretty bleeding edge way to configure a Haskell project using Nix. But it seemed to work up to the point where actually we're able to run the executable, which was super exciting, because I spent so much time in the first month that I was streaming trying to make this work on Windows. And I actually had allotted myself a limit of 10 streams to try and solve the problem on Windows before I switched to Unix or Linux. And I ended up switching. I was almost about to switch to Ubuntu, but ended up switching to NixOS. And thanks to a viewer, Countdoran, who was like, hey, are you using Nix? And I thought, hey, why am I not installing Nix? So this is the result of us basically catching up and going further than we ever been with Windows, by being actually able to run the accelerate and body. So why can't I run it? Because I think I need to do Nix shell instead. That is strange. Something bad is happening here. I think I need to exit develop as well. So maybe Nix shell from here, and then accelerate and body here. Yes, that's right. So it's working. We actually see, it's working. It's working up to a point. Basically, what happens is that at some point it didn't do exactly the same thing as before. It did fork OS entry interrupted. What it did last time is that it sec faulted. So let's check out whether actually, in fact, it is the same thing happening here. With maybe a journal CTL. And I suppose we will open it at the end. And I see some gnome things, but it looked like this time it didn't sec fault. But I did something I hadn't done actually ever. I looked into the core dump last time, and it seemed like it was plausible. We didn't have the symbols loaded. I didn't go as far as that, so I'm not 100% sure. But it seemed plausible that the error came from something I identified would be an obstacle, which is that we're using CUDA 11.1 driver, but we compiling for CUDA 10.2, and backward compatibility is not going to work this way. I need to downgrade my driver. And yeah, that's what I was hoping to do before the stream, because it seemed like if I'd solved that, then we'd be in really good shape. But yeah, didn't happen, and we're going to try and do it now. Even though, a little warning here, it's probably going to mean restarting the stream. And restarting this big machine actually takes like 2 or 3 minutes. So bear with me with the breaks. Okay, so the path that we followed to try and install a different version than what we were using, which was the Vulkan beta version, and which is what is loaded right now. Again, if I show you the SMI, it's 4554604, 4554604. So I suppose I just thought about something, because I was struggling to actually do it in a smart way, in a kind of smart way, which is not so smart because it doesn't work. So yeah, what I was trying to do was to basically reuse this generic function here, but with a different setting, and then pass that to my hardware NVIDIA package. And right now I was trying with a different version string, but I hadn't changed the SHA yet. But even this doesn't work. It seems like when I try to import I also copied the ./generic.nix function here. And so this should be the generic function that we're using. But and in fact, oh, hold on. I thought I had deleted this, but I haven't. So if this works, yeah, no, it still doesn't work. I was thinking maybe it was something about what can happen in the let clause, but it is not. So the error that we get is an error related to the setting of this kernel value. And it looks like when we import Nix packages and use this driver in a regular way, then we must be passing some kernel value. And now I have another idea. So 2 ideas to follow. The first one I follow is the one I just had. It's to do this, but in the flake, because the flake is what imports the Nix packages. And so we might be able to maybe do this. I don't think we can, we won't be able to do this as an overlay, but I'd be curious to know whether maybe I can put this code somewhere that would be a better fit. And then I can simply maybe pass the tweaked Vulkan library here. Let's see. Yeah, and then the second idea is to fork Nix packages onto my namespace and then import that, and then just change the Vulkan beta. And in fact, yeah, I'm thinking, should we ship this as a legacy Vulkan beta? Why not, right? In fact, that's how we're going to call it. But first, we'll try the Nix programming way, right? Because it'll be nice to be able to upgrade our skill in Nix, because I am not sure, I don't understand why this is failing. So Nix legacy Vulkan, okay. And again, just to show you what, maybe I should show you the code of what's failing here. It is in the generic.nix that we import, and then there are some assertions that seem to expect that either that must be overriding this libs only true kernel now, because basically if libs only is true, this is the logical implication. So false here should mean, well, from false, anything can follow. So really, I think if false, we probably assert that we don't want to continue, which is the case right now. Libs only is true, specified here. So we fail the assertion and then we stop. Whereas if libs only was false, then we would want a kernel to be defined. So if we set libs only to false here, then we need to pass a kernel somehow. But I don't know how to pass a kernel. And I think, I mean, kernel we define here, right? This is where we say which kernel we're using. So can I say libs only false and just do packages and stable Linux package here? Okay, third thing to try. False and kernel packages unstable Linux packages underscore 419. Still not. And so is it then because of this hacky, supposed hacky way to extract packages from, maybe the code come from there? It doesn't come from there. Oh, hey, I missed some package. Good day, nice to see you. Yes, Linux packages, I did. So in that case, that would be null, indeed. But that's not the problem. So let's look again at the generic.nix. Generic.nix is a function with two arguments. The first argument, I mean, it's a module, I suppose, right? But it takes two arguments. One is the one that contains all of is the actual argument here to generic. But the second, well, the second contains, oh, okay. So maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe somehow when NVIDIA X11 default is imported, it actually provides all of that stuff, including the kernel. So in which case we would leave this alone. I am setting lib32, but this is the different function, right? This is the core package function. Oh, no, right. Yes, I think associativity here means that imported is generic, partially applied to args, and so therefore this indeed, you're right, is the argument, or rather, oh, hold on. No, yeah, this is what's passed to generics. Hold on, let me open generics in this shell and zoom in a bit. that. So yeah, we don't pass libs 32. 32 libs only version of this package. Right. You're right, this matters. Then it's a little bit strange that this is only what gets passed. But it could be that core package actually somehow passes the rest. But let's try to, yeah, I suppose we could just try to pass the kernel here instead of here. So let's try that. Let's go back to how it was before, and let's try and pass kernel here. And yeah, that would be packages dot unstable dot Linux packages _4 _19. Okay, let's try this. Oh, we went further. Settings.nix, not such file directory. Oh, am I importing a settings.nix somewhere? Settings. Yes, import settings.nix right there. Okay, good. So we are moving forward. Awesome. Thank you so much, Joseph, that you really get me unstuck there. Wonderful. Okay, settings.nix. etc NixOS settings.nix. Okay, copy that properly. Let's go to the raw file instead. Copy. Okay, let's try it. I mean, there might be a better way to do all this, but hey, more progress. Attribute version missing. So we do have kernel, but it might not be the right kernel because we need a version. Okay, I suppose we can provide a version. Let's provide a version. So maybe kernel is supposed to be something. How do we know what is expected? I'm not sure. But this should have a version, and I suppose the version would be 419, right? So let's see, is there code that uses kernel in this page? No. And oh, let's see what's happening with the network error right there. Offline mode. Oh, there was some network glitch, but I seem to still be alive. Okay. Yeah, offline mode right here too. Okay. Kernel. So is it in generic? Generic, not generics. Kernel. Different from null. Kernel.version. Kernel.dev. If libs only, then null. Else kernel.dev. And then kernel.modDear version. I would kind of hope that maybe that kernel, but this is kernel packages that I assigned to this. It's not kernel. Kernel feels a bit like it might be the current kernel. So you know what? I think modDear version is going to be a good keyword to search for. Except not. modDear version, these packages hardened. Yeah. Okay, hold on. There was manual config. What is this? Mod. Okay. This and this modDear version. yeah, that looks like that's what the kernel object is like. The version of the kernel module directory. Source and patches, version, overriding std-env on each built-in Linux call. Okay. I see std-env everywhere. I still don't know exactly what that's meant to be. Maybe just the environment variables, actually. Manually specify Nix expression representing the config, but to detect it from the .config. Yeah. I don't know how to build such a thing, but Linux kernel, NixOS wiki. That's what we want, maybe. You can choose your kernel simply by setting the boot kernel packages option. That's what I'm doing. Rebuild NixOS and reboot. You can also list the available kernels. Indeed, that's how I chose mine. Then you can also have custom kernel modules doing extra module package. Doing config.boot. Config.boot. Or boot. And I'm using boot.kernel packages here. I had boot.kernel params, but what's the difference with config.boot? Don't know. Kernel patches. Another way to build a kernel with custom configuration, an overlay. Linux packages for linuxzen.override, and you pass new. It feels a bit like what I want to do with my generic. I want to kind of override maybe the NVIDIA X11 Vulkan beta package. Actually, let's load this in NixRepl. Linux packages and 419, and then NVIDIA X11. Oh, this doesn't have Vulkan beta. What? NVIDIA X11 Vulkan beta. Interesting. It could be because I'm sourcing Nix packages, but clearly I shouldn't be, because I think doing NixRepl this way is actually not the Flakes way. So it could be that this is using. No, it's not. I was going to say it's using the Nix channel environment, but I removed the Nix packages from there. So how do we even know which version that is? Is there a version? Not that I can see. I could also import it like so. But yeah, no, instead let's go back to Linux packages 419, and instead of going into the NVIDIA thing, let's go into packages. And in here, we don't have Vulkan Beta. How strange. There is an override function though. So that might be what is used to do the kind of override we want. But okay, little tangent here, but we want to have the Nix packages we use in general here. How come we don't have that? Nix REPL help. Tix flake, override flake, and Tix files. So if I etc NixOS flake.nix, that adds 3 variables. What is in our flake.nix? Actually, I think there is a thing to list all the variables. Maybe not. I thought there was, but looks like not. Okay, fine. NixOS flake.nix. So we have a NixOS configurations. Nix. Maybe if I just tab. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that show up if I just tab. Those look like standard library style things. And how come I can't see NixOS configurations? Oh, because it's probably description inputs and outputs instead. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Description. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so this is sane, I think. And oh, of course, it's unstable. That's where I need to go. So my Nix packages is in packages unstable. I don't have it loaded here. Because I do set it as an overlay, but in my flake.nix, I say unstable. Okay, well, it's fine. I think I can just import. Yeah, I can import unstable, I think. I can import unstable. Let me exit this, or quit rather, and then get in without anything. And then there was an import example right there. And sure, we can probably actually just do something a little bit like this. Probably not exactly that, but close. github.com/NixOS. Probably we just want to get NixOS unstable. Yeah. Because that's the name of the branch, right? And it downloads. Except I think I should be assigning this to a variable. Right? Because otherwise it's going to try to build everything. So this would be packages. And then packages dot Linux. Yay! I did a thing. And and we see the Vulkan beta. So we are where we're supposed to be. Great. And but we discovered something. which there is an override, and this should be a function indeed. In fact, it's a functor. Okay. But let's read about the override, because this could very well be exactly what we want. But before we do that, let's also take a look at Vulkan beta here. And that just says it's a derivation. But I didn't interrupt it. Why do you say I interrupted it? I think we need to do something else if it's a derivation. Yeah, we can build it. Can build it and install the results in the current profile. Maybe we can just describe results of evaluation. Sounds interesting. A set. So that's the type. Okay. So what about load then? Doesn't work. No such file. Okay, L comes with a, yeah, it takes a path, not an expression. Maybe we bind it to a variable then. V. And then V dot, oh yeah. So, okay, and what's about kernel then? We're interested in kernel. Yeah, plenty of stuff in there, including version. And that's 419, which is what we expect. So in some fashion, executing this derivation, which I think that the moment we do V dot, we're lazily evaluating the derivation and probably not even evaluating each of the keys here, in each of the fields. We're just able to list the top level fields. Okay, so let's look into this override thing. If this is V, and I suppose we can do override here as well. Yes, we can. Then what do we pass to it is the question. And we look at other overrides. And in other overrides, it says it overrides specific things. And we had maybe build inputs. Let's look at what's in build inputs. V dot build inputs. No build inputs. Okay, maybe we try to understand where those variables go. It's probably a fetch whatever. It's yeah, I don't even know. But let's try to find out. Oh, I'm not. Yeah, apparently they've unlocked everyone from GitHub, which I suppose is a thing. Probably a security problem. So let me log so that we are back with the dark theme, because it's a bit jarring. And two-factor auth. V3. Okay, I'm not supposed to say it. Okay. We know it starts with 3 if we pay attention, but not a big problem, right? Okay. So what do we have? Generic, yes. Generic. We use generic. Okay, this is also generic, so let's have so many generics. And this is what we want with the default.x. Right, so if we pass the version, then what does generic do with it? Knowing that we can also pass URL to generic. So generic will take the version of the URL, and what will it do with it? URL. It will fetch URL with arg_URL, or it will use the version and the package suffix in this fetch URL thing, and that will go to src. So src. And src dot, maybe. What's the result of fetch URL is the question, right? I think we had fetch URL in the ambient. No, we had other things that feel like they should be the same, but they're not. But maybe in lib? No. pkgs.lib. No. Oh, maybe .fetchers. No. Why is pkg.lib not the... It is the standard library. So maybe fetch URL is not in the standard library. It needs to be passed somehow. That's weird. Really something I would expect to be in the standard library. But the fact that it's not in lib here, that it's separate, and that it probably isn't. And in fact, no, it's not here either. And I think call packages passes it in some way, right? Since we call the okay, this is not the right version. It's not the right version, and yeah, that's it. Call packages. I did remove this because I thought it would be it was unrelated to us, and that we would go directly to this else call package branch, and that's called with args, but that doesn't look exactly like my code, actually. That's weird. But in any case, probably, I mean, it's weird. It probably was on maybe master instead of NixOS and stable. Yeah, the master branch, right? Not anymore. I thought I'm on Nix packages channels though. Yeah, I'm not even sure what that is as opposed to Nix packages itself. Because this is in Nix packages, not in Nix packages channels. So many mysteries. Okay, so let's focus back on what override could give us. And we said maybe we could override the source, but the source seemed like it was something hard to introspect. And I was trying to find the return type of fetch URL so that I could know what the source would be. But it could be that in fact the source is just a binary download. So that if we had a handle on, if we somehow found out what fetch URL is, holy moly, it's without the capital U. That's what it is. It is in packages. Yes, fetch URL. There we go. And so T will give me the return type, and it's just a set. But we know it's in packages, so we can just call it. And we'll override source like that. Let's try that. yeah, we definitely have, this is a good thing. So in which case we're not going to call generic. We'll just comment out all of this, and we'll just call NVIDIA Vulkan Beta, but in the flakes, oh no, hold on. I could override it here probably. I could probably just override it here. So let me copy the line just in case. And so we say dot override with src equals packages dot fetch URL of version equal. Of course, this could work if that's really the main thing that generic does. If it does something else, then we'll have a problem. SHA-256. And let's just use this. All right, I did it. Even added a closing. And I think, yeah, oh, right, no, of course not. We need this. And then we need this. Four, 3, 5, 2, 7, or 9. And then maybe some package suffix and dot run. So package suffix would be built up from, if it's a version older than 304, then it will have dash package 0. Cool. Right, so let's see whether other things are done with this generic module. It could patch, then it would use those things, but we don't send any patches in the generic function like other things do, like here, like pre-patch and blah, like legacy 301, or even legacy 340, like sends in some patches, but not Vulkan, not the more recent thing, like not stable nor Vulkan beta, at least. Oh, and beta equals stable, interesting. And so no patches and outputs out and some, but that we won't override this and I assume that that's the same for all things. Kernel, that should be dealt with at some other level. We're not overriding any of that. Hardening, disable, okay. Lib path, native build inputs. Disallowed differences, pass-through, with GTK2, GTK3, resistance D, and some meta stuff. Okay, so no, I think mostly it just does this. So we probably need to add a semicolon here, and then let's try. Ah, yes. What? I say yes. I think this is left over from some half-baked. First of all, we need to comment out all that stuff too. But I don't see the code that that the error references. Well, legacy Vulkan, that doesn't exist, so let's remove it. And yeah, still don't know how to do this in VI. And let's save. Okay. So maybe that's not how you use override. Let's look at another example of using override. Pinning a kernel version. Args override equal. Args override seems to be what we had when we... No, it's not. It's function args. Then just override. No, hold on. That's the fetch URL. The type of Vulkan beta override is a set. And maybe we just want to override ATTRs, which is a function. I bet you there's documentation on this. So Nix and override. Packages. Ref is override XOR equal null. Fixed point. No, we want to know about fixed points. Well, we would, because that looks suspiciously like the error message that we had. Result F org Rx. So maybe that needs to be in a packages overrides. I think that the kind of stuff that overlays also do. So, and I think overlays were actually brought up to replace overrides, maybe, or do they use override? They do use overrides. So yeah, maybe we exactly do that. How? Well, I think this happens in the flakes. Yes, we have overlays here. So we can add another overlay, which would be it's not at the root, but maybe that's fine. Yeah, the overlays are actually applied here. So here I have overlays that are unstable, so I could add a NVidia legacy Vulkan overlay, which would be a function taking final and prev and returning an attribute set that would contain, so that's the difficult part. I think it would contain oh, first of all, it's unstable. So are we even, am I overriding unstable or not? No, I am not, because I am defining unstable right there. I'm actually overlaying unstable onto packages. Okay, okay, yeah, no, that's all good. It just means that actually, what does it mean? Unstable equal blah. It means that, does it mean I try to do something like unstable dot Linux packages dot maybe for 419 dot NVidia packages dot oh yeah, we don't need to do NVIDIA packages here. We do NVIDIA X11 Vulkan beta equals, and then we say prev dot Linux packages 419 dot NVIDIA X11 Vulkan beta dot override, and then we do our override. Basically, the error I think means that we're missing some context, because this kind of the override needs to be done within the context of a I'm not going to be able to yank this onto the other VI, am I? Nope. Okay. Packages.fetch URL, and yeah, I wish I knew how to even bypass the. Oh, I think maybe I do have a sense of how to do the bypass. If I do mouse off, mouse off, picture off. Okay, there's a thing for that. VI disable mouse. Set mouse minus automatic visual. Yeah, okay. So set mouse minus equals A. Like that. Set mouse equal A. No. What? Saving my support. Saving. Okay, just. Set mouse minus equal A. Looks like that's what it is. Column. And paste this. Ah, yes. Okay, so I think we only need this. And yeah, except with the curly braces. It's simple for us. And okay. Whew. Okay, let's try. We need semicolon here, attribute unstable blah already defined at blah. Freaked out Nix 15 though. Hold on. Did I forget to remove something? I did, yeah. This doesn't mean anything. But that's already defined at line 15, which is this. Yeah, so unstable is already defined. So I suppose we need to do something like we make unstable an attribute set, which it is. Oh, right. I think maybe we merge Linux packages onto it. Yeah, I think I need to put a parenthesis right here. Is this? Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just missing a. Yeah, okay. Okay, so two them, okay. And oh, you don't need a what? So final prev needs closing. Oh, okay, you just don't need it. You just don't need this. Oof, that's not great. Okay, undefined variable packages. Yeah, that's fine. It's in prev, I believe. Yes. We're gonna run to the little further. Attribute extend missing. Oh, boy, boot kernel. Holy moly, what is that? Now also I realize that I don't have my okay, I'm gonna change this right now. I was gonna say I don't have my NixOS configuration in Git. So let's change that. First of all, let's change the owner to German. Yes, it's not yet a Git repo. Yes, that's what I wanted, and let's get Git in it. Okay, yes. Need to ch on NixOS also. Fine. Makes sense. That is the Linux way. What? And then you should get in it, right? Yes, you should. Very good. And so now we'll git commit, initial commit. I think I should at least be able to turn back time from here. Oh, and changing all this to June means that we can also use VS Code, which is going to be easier. And so let's open Freight.nix. In fact, it's not. Let's instead open the whole folder. Okay, and yeah, I was going to look at whether I had left some dirtiness over here, and yes, I did. So we wanted to do this override. And let's rebuild now. Still same error. So I suppose that this override strategy didn't quite pay out. Could be because we just don't know how to do it properly. VX11 Vulkan. It's doing a little bit of sanity checking here. We do have a double slash, but that shouldn't really be a problem. And it has nothing to do with the error we have. So yeah, so before I go further, I want to make sure that my additions are really the cause for the problem here. Explicit argument source. So there's still some garbage somewhere, I think. We shouldn't be importing this. This is not in play. And so, oh, and I haven't saved this. That's what happened. Okay, so yeah, that seems to work. So let's go back to Freight.nix. I haven't completely nuked my system. That's always good to know. And stop it. And okay, so we do get that error. Attribute extend missing. I mean, it could be that we can't override SRC, but let's take a look at. Let's continue reading through our overlays. You say command line args to pass using overlays. I think that's not the problem. I suppose we could look at overlaying like Linux packages, for instance, overriding a version.
check. Yeah, I'll move to this. Thank you so much for letting me know, Joseph. I'm sorry that this wasn't working properly. I think this isn't the proper sound. It might be the proper sound. But anyway, I was going to say, I'm going to reboot. I think, I'm confident. I'm going to reboot soon. And because I think I am close to solving this puzzle. And so in which case, I think it will reboot my cam link. I have a pretty crazy setup there. This microphone goes to my desktop computer that I use for music. That has a preamp and a compressor, and then I output the output from the microphone is through HDMI audio, and then gets into a cam link in here. So anyway, I think I am pretty close to solving it. Yes, but famous last words, huh? Okay, so I'm a bit still wondering why some stuff would be in Vulkan Beta. It could be that the stuff that's in Vulkan Beta maybe is just very recent. So in that case, would it mean that there is actually Vulkan stuff in the mainstream driver? It's possible that that's the case. And so if that's the case, then we should hit for 440 and the max version there. So in which case we shouldn't do what I was just doing. We should indeed instead go and fetch 440 100. So let's do that. 440 100. And in there, NVidia NixOS 8664, 440, 100. And then we will know the SHA, I suppose, when we save this Nix rebuild, and it will tell us that it's not the right SHA. Hopefully it will tell us it's not the right SHA, I'm expecting this. If it doesn't tell us, then we will have a problem. But yeah, it's downloading it, and what does it say? It says it's not valid, which is actually the same as it was saying earlier. 430, okay. That's not gonna get far. Stream Manager window is, oh yes it is. That is because I need to change the browser here to being the browser here. There we go. Thank you. All the things falling apart. It's all good. Maybe because, no, I think it didn't download any new driver, so probably not. But yeah, it's not 430 here, it's 440. Nor is it 420. Haha. Okay. Yes, so it should be valid, but then it should fail with the SHA. Building. Download, yes. If it is downloading. Yes, it is. And there we go. Specified was wrong, and this is the one we want. Except we need to copy like this, and we need to give you the correct SHA right there. Okay, and so now this should work, and so yeah, basically I'll reboot, and I'm being optimistic, but I think this will install the driver. So we finally, well, we completed this this part of the stream, which has the title, pinning a specific NVIDIA driver on NixOS. So that's nice. And so if I come back, then I will change this to, it's not valid. Come on. specified PL blah. Have I not saved properly? I have not saved. Okay. Yeah, of course. If I don't save, then it's not gonna work. Yeah. So I'll reboot. If it reboots, and it's well, I'll test the Vulkan thing, but it's okay. I'll test NVIDIA SMI. If it returns the right version, yeah, it's unpacking, so it's moving forward. If it reports it's unpacking, but 455.46, so not the right one. And that is because I forgot to change something in configuration.nix, which is that now this is actually going to be at the root, which is the thing I was expecting, because no, it's actually going to be called Legacy Vulkan. Hold on, Legacy Vulkan is going to be Linux packages. So yeah, no, so it's a little bit more involved than this. I think it's Legacy Vulkan dot Linux packages dot NVIDIA Vulkan beta. So I did speak too soon. But it's okay because it's nice and it doesn't restart the display manager even if it changes the video driver. So we have a chance to. Oh, I have low display though. On boot, all right, because it's yeah, there's an invocation for garbage collections there that I forget. Garbage, I don't have it here. I probably have it in my sudo, in my root batch history, I would think. Garbage, no. GC, no. Okay, so I'm gonna have to find this new obstacle, but before that, I'm going to run the NixOS rebuild. I hope it's only 16 meg. Attribute legacy Vulkan's missing. Okay, so maybe sorry. Right. No, I think that's the way. Right, because if we look at the symmetry here, not this. When we do the unstable overlay, it's going to put an unstable attribute onto dot packages or into packages itself. So we have a packages.unstable, and so here is going to put a Linux package for 19 onto packages, which kind of means it just replaces the whole Linux packages for 19, which sounds more brutal than an overlay, but then again, I think this extend mechanism should actually allow for that. So we could name this something else so that it doesn't mess up with Linux packages. I think I'll try just like this. Although it might not be the best way to see whether it worked or not. And in fact, that's a little bit suspicious. But let's still not necessarily dismiss it right away. Let's go check out near the NixVarnix profile system and 120 something, and it's 127. So if we check 126 link and kernel modules and xorg, was it? No. Lib xorg modules drivers NVIDIA. and that we check this with same thing, but 127. Oh, well, apparently it completely removed the driver. So that's not going to be nice. So it did do something, but definitely. Oh no, hold on. I forgot the beginning Nix there. Different sizes. That's good. That's good. Because it was already built, it was in the store. So potentially I just switched it. But just to make extra short, because I don't want to waste a reboot for that, we are going to, in fact, change the name of this and say, whoopsie, Prime, since we want to do it Canada Haskell style. And so we say Prime. I mean, I hope we can put attributes with Prime. We learn whether we can. And what I expect this will do is, well, will it create a system 128 link? I think it will. And then I think the 128 link is going to be the same as 127. So let's check if that's the case. No, it just simply didn't create a system 128 link because it found out that it was the same thing. So yes. Good. So I think we are sanity checked. We will reboot, I believe, with our changed driver. We finally did it. And then, well, what time is it? It's it's already past my streaming time. So yeah, that's it. That will have been the content for this stream. But I'll still show up after reboot to, give a thumbs up, and maybe even try to run our accelerated body example. Who knows? This might work. And if it doesn't, then next time we'll be either troubleshooting more system driver related things or doing some Haskell. So let's do it. I shall reboot now and see you on the other side.